Hey there, you ever think about what the future might be like? Usually, we imagine flying cars, phones that work with our brains, and AI running everything. But what if I told you the future might not have any of that? No phones, just people have mutated and can read minds and talk to each other using their thoughts. Sounds crazy, right? Well, imagine some powerful folks like government types using these mind-reading powers to spy on people and manipulate things like elections. That's a big problem. People wouldn't stand for that. So what kind of world would that be? Who would be struggling? Well, everyone really, but especially those whose privacy is being invaded. But hey, there's got to be a solution, right? Watch the whole video to find out, and don't forget to like and share. The movie opens with a serene scene by a beautiful river where a father and son are peacefully fishing. Meanwhile, a woman in the river observes them, her face reflecting numerous questions. Silently, she approaches them, and at this moment, the movie's title, The Hoodmaker, appears on screen. The story then shifts to the past, depicting a protest where people demand the expulsion of mind readers from the city. They express concerns about their minds being read without consent, escalating the protest with chants against mind theft. The police are also present, anticipating the protest could turn into a riot. Amidst this, we meet a woman named Owner, who possesses both telepathic abilities and leadership among the mind readers. She bears a peculiar mark on her eye and begins scanning the thoughts of the protesters. She identifies individuals in the crowd, pointing out the innocence of an elderly man, stating he's peaceful and unaware of the protest purpose. She notes a young boy's involvement, explaining he's following a friend's advice and harbors no personal grudge. A bearded man, though angry, lacks clarity on his reasons for protesting. However, she warns of the danger posed by a woman lurking behind him and a man in green attire, who is already aware of her mind-reading abilities. Detective Ross arrives, having tasked Owner with identifying potential instigators among the protesters, suspecting some may intend to incite violence. As news of this spreads, tension rises, leading to a confrontation between the protesters and the police, who also employ mind readers, an act deemed illegal. Owner surveys the crowd, delving into the thoughts of each individual. As chaos erupts, a man wearing a distinctive hood mask appears, catching Owner off guard as she attempts to read his thoughts. He hurls a firebomb, igniting the protest into a full-blown riot. Detective Ross springs into action, pursuing the masked assailant. In a scuffle, Ross manages to unmask and apprehend the culprit, leading to his arrest. Returning Ross's fallen cap amidst the turmoil, Owner displays an act of kindness. Ross later reports to his chief at the police station, discussing the need to quell the spreading riots. Recognizing the complexity of the situation, the chief acknowledges fault on both sides. Mind readers infringe on privacy by scanning thoughts, provoking public outcry. However, resorting to violence isn't the solution. Further investigation reveals a dangerous terrorist group inciting the unrest. Ross discloses his capture of a member donning the peculiar mask, linking him to the organization. When Owner arrives, the police are shocked and hesitant to let her in, but she shows them a letter from Detective Ross, so they allow her inside. She tries hard not to read anyone's mind, especially the police, but they still treat her with suspicion. If the police see mind readers as foes, you can imagine how regular folks sees them. Owner sits there, feeling frustrated by it all. Later, a detective goes to get water, and Owner looks at him normally, but he snaps at her, afraid she might read his mind. She reassures him that she's not interested in reading anyone's mind, especially not the police's, but no one believes her. Everyone's scared she might know their deepest secrets just by looking at them. Owner observes Ross and his chief conversing, resisting the urge to use her powers to eavesdrop. When Ross approaches her and suggests partnering up, she feels a surge of happiness, grateful for his understanding amidst the public scrutiny of her abilities. Together, they head to interrogate the captured terrorists. Ross demands answers about the group's motives for inciting unrest against mind leaders and the identity of their leader. However, the terrorist remains defiant, challenging Ross to uncover the truth himself. Unfazed, Ross presses further, questioning the significance of the hood mask worn by the group. The terrorist cryptically suggests Ross wear it once to comprehend its meaning, refusing to divulge any information regardless of the interrogation tactics employed. When Ross called Owner into the room, the man turned away, scared she might read his thoughts. But Owner sat calmly in front of him and tapped into the electrical signals in his brain. She effortlessly revealed details about the terrorist, from his name to his parents' names, and even his childhood incidents. The terrorist grew furious, but couldn't stop her. She even knew which terrorist group he belonged to and where he was hiding. Ross felt uneasy watching Owner work, feeling like she was torturing the man. But he got all the information he needed. The other policemen looked at Ross and Owner strangely, perhaps suspicious of Owner's abilities. Owner worried if Ross might face problems in the department because of her, but Ross told her not to worry and just focus on the their work. Together with the police force, Ross and Owner arrive at the location of the terrorist gang, a towering building. Using her unique ability, Owner detects the mind signals of the terrorists, guiding the police to their precise locations for swift arrests. As the operation unfolds, Owner delves into the minds of the captured individuals, uncovering hidden secrets. Among them is a letter signed by someone known as the Hoodmaker, hinting at undisclosed plans. Suddenly, a voice from below catches Owner's attention, leading her downstairs where she encounters a man wearing a hood mask. Ross urgently instructs her to probe his mind to determine if he poses any threat with a weapon. Owner struggles to read the mind of the masked attacker, leaving her perplexed. Before he can strike, Ross intervenes and shoots the assailant. Ross queries Owner about her difficulty, to which she replies that she attempted but couldn't succeed, speculating that the mask may have hindered her abilities. Later, Owner returns to her residence, which resembles more of a facility than a typical home. Unlike regular folks, mind readers like her aren't living in ordinary houses. Instead, they reside in specially designated places, almost like jails. Without access to devices like phones, some influential individuals utilize mind readers for communication. After all, these mind readers can connect with anyone through their unique abilities of mind reading and telepathy. Later, a government man named Franklin shows up with a mind reader named Mary. He asks Mary to peek into his thoughts and then pass them on to someone else. But doing this makes Mary feel the emotions of the person she's connecting with, causing her a lot of pain. Despite their discomfort, powerful folks like Franklin push them to keep at it. Poor Mary's mind gets really messed up, and she can't help but cry. It's not just that. The government also pressures mind readers to snoop into regular people's thoughts to catch criminals. But those regular folks don't know it's all because the government's pushing them to do it. Instead of being mad at the mind readers, they should be raising their voices against the government for making them do these things. When Franklin leaves, he finds a box in his car with a hood mask inside. It's a special mask that stops anyone from reading Franklin's mind. In the aftermath of reading Franklin's mind, Mary becomes deeply distressed, mumbling in her sleep. As mind readers are interconnected, others also begin to exhibit similar signs of distress. Reacting swiftly, Owner rushes to comfort Mary, but Mary accuses her of betrayal, believing Owner has aligned herself with the government. The scene transitions to the next morning, with Ross arriving at Owner's place. Owner questions his visit, but Ross brushes off any concerns, emphasizing their partnership and offering breakfast. However, Owner notices damage to Ross's car, indicative of the deep-seated animosity mind readers harbor towards government officials. This resentment stems from the government's constant coercion and manipulation of mind readers, forcing them to undertake tasks they vehemently oppose. Recognizing the validity of their anger, Ross acknowledges the justified frustration felt by mind readers. At the police station, Ross briefs his team about the hood mask, explaining that it's crafted from a special waxed fiber material that blocks brain signals, rendering wearers immune to mind reading. He stresses the urgency of identifying the mask manufacturer, as its widespread use could jeopardize law enforcement efforts. When an officer suggests it will take a month to trace the source, Ross rebukes him, reminding him of their duty as policemen. Owner interjects, proposing that she can track down the hoodmaker within a day if given permission. Ross, recognizing the potential of Owner's abilities, grants her request. Within just 5 minutes, Owner sifts through the minds of several individuals and quickly relays her findings to Ross. She reveals that the wax fiber material used in the hood mask is not commonly available, but is instead used in specific factories, particularly those involved in high-quality clothing production or traditional bookbinding. Since there are no bookbinding factories in the city presently, the focus shifts to clothing factories. With 8 such factories in the area, Ross determines that they must search each one to uncover the hoodmaker's identity. The other officers are amazed by the efficiency of mind reading. Ross takes the opportunity to praise Owner's swift action, contrasting it with the previous estimate of a month for the task. With determination, the entire team prepares to raid the clothing factories in pursuit of the hoodmaker. As Ross and Owner continue their search, they find themselves empty-handed after scouring all the factories. Ross questions Owner about the constant influx of thoughts from others' minds, wondering if it overwhelms her. Owner confirms this, explaining that the constant chatter can be mentally taxing and could potentially drive a mind reader to madness. However, she reassures Ross that in his presence, she feels a sense of peace and tranquility, free from the cacophony of others' thoughts. Ross is taken aback by Owner's revelation, contemplating the newfound connection between them. Before he can dwell further, Owner suddenly cries out for help. Franklin, the government official, is torturing Mary, causing her immense pain. Due to the interconnectedness of mind readers, Owner feels Mary's suffering as if it were her own. Ross quickly rushes to save Mary, finding Franklin with a hood mask, threatening her with a gun. Franklin challenges Mary to read his mind, threatening to shoot her if she fails. Ross intervenes, urging Franklin to drop the gun and warning him about the consequences of using the mask, which disrupts the work of mind readers. He vows to expose Franklin's actions to others. Franklin relents, releasing Mary and discarding the weapon. Approaching Franklin, Ross questions his behavior despite his high government position. Franklin counters, cautioning Ross about the perceived danger posed by mind readers. He suggests that mind leaders could exploit their abilities to access sensitive information, potentially endangering national security. Franklin insinuates that Ross's association with a mind reader puts him at risk. Meanwhile, Owner wears Franklin's hood mask, experiencing a sense of normalcy as her mind-reading abilities are temporarily blocked. Ross and Owner listen to old police tapes, uncovering Dr. Cutter's unethical experiments with wax fiber material. Dr. Cutter had subjected mind readers, including children, to torturous tests using the hood mask. Witnessing the extent of the cruelty, Owner feels deeply saddened. Meanwhile, Franklin approaches Mary, seeking forgiveness for his actions. However, Mary retaliates using her powers, inflicting intense mental torment upon him. Other mind readers join in, overwhelming Franklin's mind. Though he survives, his mental state deteriorates to that of a child. Learning of this, Ross suspects Mary's involvement and urges Owner to use their mental connection to locate her. Owner connects with Mary mentally and learns that Mary indeed tortured Franklin as a form of retaliation against the oppression they've faced. Mary sees it as just the beginning of their resistance against their oppressors. Despite this revelation, Owner lies to Ross, claiming she couldn't connect with Mary and doesn't know her whereabouts. However, Ross sees through the deception, warning Owner of the escalating conflict between mind readers and the police. He urges Owner to stay away home for safety, but Owner expresses her homelessness. Moved by Owner's plight, Ross brings her to his home for refuge. As he gazes out the window, he realizes that the riot he sought to prevent has begun, with tensions escalating between common people and mind leaders. Owner expresses her profound sadness, questioning why people fail to recognize that mind leaders are also human beings. She wonders what their fault is in being different and why people want to destroy them. While conversing, Owner notices a photo of Ross fishing with his father on a river during his childhood. She remarks on how happy Ross looks in the picture. Ross fondly recalls those moments, sharing that he was indeed very happy when his father was alive. They used to fish together every day, and his father had an open-minded attitude, comfortable even in the presence of mind readers. Ross felt incredibly safe and content with his father by his side. Owner shares with Ross that she feels safe and happy when she's with him, indicating a growing bond between them. That night, as Ross sleeps, Owner can't resist the urge to read his mind, despite knowing it's not right. She does so out of curiosity to understand Ross better. Finding him thinking about his father, she sees the same memories. However, when Ross appeared to be mumbling in sleep, Owner stops her mind reading. Instead, she starts reading through files in the room. Suddenly, Ross wakes up and catches her in the act. Owner playfully claims she's looking for a job for him since he's fallen in love with a mind reader, so he will lose his job. Ross laughs along, agreeing to let her find him a good job. Owner reveals to Ross that she has chosen the location for their new house, opting for the riverbank where Ross used to fish with his father. Lightening the mood, she jokes about finding a clothes factory in the files they searched, suggesting it could be where the hood maker operates. Ross is impressed by her investigative skills, remarking that she should have been in the police department. As Ross prepares to investigate the factory, Owner insists on joining him. Concerned for her safety, Ross advises her to stay home due to the growing hostility towards mind readers. However, Owner disregards his warning and secretly follows him. Meanwhile, Mary contacts Owner through telepathy, warning her not to trust any government officials and emphasizing the need to eliminate the hood maker to protect the mind readers from being eradicated by the public. Meanwhile, Ross enters the factory and confronts Dr. Cutter, who is engrossed in his work of producing hood masks. Ross questions Cutter's motives, asking why he's manufacturing the masks. Dr. Cutter explains that he's driven by a desire to protect people's privacy. He feels that mind readers have violated individuals' privacy by intruding into their thoughts without consent. Cutter believes that his masks offer a solution, allowing people to reclaim their privacy. Though Ross empathizes with Cutter's concerns, he points out the repercussions of his actions. Unbeknownst to Ross, Owner arrives at the factory and overhears their conversation. Dr. Cutter addresses Ross, acknowledging that he possesses a powerful defense against mind readers, ensuring his safety. However, he expresses concern for people like himself who must rely on hood masks for protection. As Owner enters the room, she questions Ross about the supposed powerful weapon he possesses. In In response, Dr. Cutter quickly dons a hood mask and challenges owner to read Ross's mind herself to uncover the truth. However, when owner attempts to read Ross's mind, she only sees the fishing scene they previously shared. Unable to access any further thoughts, owner is perplexed by this unexpected inability to read Ross's mind, even though he isn't wearing a hood mask. This revelation shocks owner, leaving her puzzled about how Ross can block her mind-reading abilities. Dr. Cutter explains that this ability is Ross's unique power. He can block the electrical signals of his mind from being read by mind readers like owner. This realization dawns on owner, shedding light on Ross's ability to maintain privacy even in the presence of mind readers. The owner is shocked and bewildered by the revelation, but her shock is compounded when Mary arrives with other mind leaders, all connected to the owner. Ross warns Dr. Cutter of the danger he faces if the mind readers find him, urging him to escape through the back door. However, Dr. Cutter insists that Ross's escape is more important and urges him to leave while he stays behind to confront the mind readers. As Ross prepares to leave, the owner unexpectedly locks the door, preventing his exit. Mary and the other mind readers realize that the factory is the source of the hood mass and that Dr. Cutter is responsible. They use their collective power to control Dr. Cutter's mind, ultimately leading to his demise. In a desperate attempt to destroy the evidence, they set the factory ablaze. With the fire spreading rapidly, Ross finds himself trapped. He pleads with the owner to unlock the door, but she insists on reading his mind to determine if he has deceived her. Reluctantly, Ross allows her to read his mind, apologizing for his actions. As the owner delves deeper into Ross's mind, she encounters the familiar scene of Ross fishing with his father, standing in the middle of the river. However, as she attempts to explore further, she finds herself unable to proceed, symbolized by the rising level of the river, a manifestation of Ross's resistance to her intrusion. Desperate to uncover the truth, the owner pleads with Ross to allow her access to his thoughts. Relenting, Ross releases his mental barrier, granting the owner entry into his mind. With his permission granted, the owner begins to explore Ross's memories. In doing so, she revisits the moment when she first encountered Ross and his chief at the police station. Initially, the owner refrained from attempting to read Ross's mind. However, now granted access, she discovers the hidden truths surrounding Ross's interactions with his chief. The owner is devastated as she uncovers the truth about Ross and his chief's plan. Their seemingly genuine behavior and the affection shared between them were all part of a deceitful scheme to manipulate the mind readers. Ross had strategically enlisted the owner as his partner in the investigation to exploit her ability to access the thoughts of other mind leaders, ultimately aiming to control them. Overwhelmed by betrayal, the owner breaks down in tears, feeling utterly shattered by the revelation. Ross, realizing the depth of her pain, admits to initially using her for his own gain, but insists that his feelings for her are genuine. He pleads with her to believe him and to open the door. The owner couldn't decide whether to open the door or not. Outside, there were fights, riots, and even bomb blasts. The owner's decision about Ross was left hanging, making it an open-ended movie. I think the owner forgave Ross and saved him by opening the door. What do you think? Ross cheated on her, but forgiveness is a big part of relationships. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the explanation, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.